Gest Saul Halt. Hello, good day. My name is Ray Pierre, recovering former tribal vice chair, chairman of the EDC executive board. Maybe we could go over the room first for introductions and then hit the Zoom list after.
Me. I'm the driver. I'm the executive director of the Port of Ponderay and
Riley, Ponderay County Commissioner, District 3, Secretary of the EDC, former Medellin Town Council member of this homes, my favorite places.
all right.
Kelly, want to get clear for the family and sending feedback.
Mark Lurikas, EDC Board.
Abby Groby, Administrator for the City of Newport.
Jenny Smith, Board Member and Hospital Health Services.
And your Porta.
Hey, Rick, Ponderay.
You call or just
Carolina.
have you been?
Or pretty Merkle Standard, Ponderay Industries. So there's the names.
Jim Coonfield, Trade Porta.
Shelton Coonfield, VP Porta.
Jim Mundy, Fire Commissioner, Fire District 2.
Ron Browning, Newport.
Mary Armentrout, Andy Simone.
I'm sorry, Mom. I disappointed you so. I'm Sean Regan, President of the North Chamber, District Hospital District 2, Commander, Vice Mayor of the Legion, and owner of several businesses.
All right, the Zoom list now.
I'm Rhonda Quant, Spokane Community College Newport Center.
Christian Metter, Board President, Porta.
That was Chris.
Chris.
Robert Rosenkrantz, Ponderay County Commissioner, District 2.
Sonyanska Flair, Suffolk Sun.
Jason Totlin, President of Newport Area Chamber.
Janet.
Hello, everyone. Janet Hart, Seattle City Light.
Brandon Houston, Tri-County Economic Development District.
I thought Kurt.
Yeah, Kurt Holmes with the Kalispell Tribe. I'm on.
Oh. Okay.
Except for North.
It says there's one in, okay. Okay. And one more from Ted.
Jeff Coffle, Executive Director, Tri-County Economic Development.
Anybody else on Zoom? So I'm going to turn it over.
Recording in progress.
And run through where we're at.
Kelly or her Kelly?
You, Kelly.
Okay. Thanks. So do you have the slideshow, Kelly? Okay. So I'm going to go through this fast and furious because most everybody saw this before. We have got definitions up there. What is an ADO? It's an Associate Development Organization. It's designated by the Washington State Department of Commerce. and each of the 39 counties have an ADO designated. Pend Oreille County's EDC is the Pend Oreille County ADO. It's funded primarily by .09 funds, $105,000 per year historically paid in the form of the former director's salary and benefits. The county was paying directly with no benefits provided, liability insurance and IT services, which were then billed back from my understanding. And then there's also funding from Department of Commerce, EDC dues, and other services Jamie formerly provided. What are .09 funds? They are sales and use tax designated by the state, and they must be used for economic development purposes. They are held by the county, and it's under RCW 84.13.370, and the tax rate on that shall not exceed the 0.09%. Next, please. Okay. The EDC board organization and board members. Board cannot exceed 13 members, and it says alternates allowed, but then there's questions on that. So right now it's those of you that are appointed to the board. So Kalispell Tribe of Indians, Ray Pierre, County Commissioners Brian Smiley, Port of Pend Oreille, Kim Gentle, PUD, Dave Rick, Newport Hospital and Health Services, Jenny Smith, City of Newport, Mark Zarica, Town of Medellin, is that correct, Kelly? Yeah. Kelly Flanagan, Town of Medellin Falls, Tara Leninger, North Pend Oreille, sorry, I'm just whipping through this, but North Pend Oreille Chamber, Sean, Newport Chamber. On the slide, it says Dave Smith. This has been corrected. We did not correct the presentation, but according to what we heard after the last meeting, it's Jason. Porta is Andy. Ex-Babylon is Alex, and Merkle Standard is Laura. Okay. Timelines and deadlines. The county signed a resolution for ADO funds to be allowed to the EDC, and then they signed a one-year contract with the EDC, which expires the end of this year. The EDC former director gave her required notice, with her last day being May 31st, and the vice chair resigned from the executive board June 4th. The EDC committee met to determine the next steps and prepare the discussion that we held in July and again today. Certain ED functions are still being provided by and performed by the EDC executive board, which includes bills, reporting, finance, and contracts. There are some looming deadlines. The quarter information was completed by Jamie before she left, and it's all been submitted. But third quarter will be due the end of September, first part of October. And with an all volunteer board, figuring that out is challenging. Where am I at? Opportunity to regroup and evaluate the next steps. And I offered and Ray accepted, and that I would, why are you laughing? As I would act as the facilitator for the meetings and discussions.
Okay, I'm going to minimize just for a second, like 2 people.
Okay, so at the July meeting, we talked about the current EDC, what's working, what's not. Working was engagement, collaboration, the great community outreach, as you can see by this room and online, and a very diverse volunteer board, great representation of the whole county. What's lacking? The ability to make decisions quickly, results-driven perspective and strategy, large demand on the executive board without your director, and an oversight on administering dues and how the dues all works and is determined. Administration of the membership. And we had comments from the board, what is working, what is lacking. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think the agreement was everything that was on this page, pretty much. So, the ground rules, the item be set to a vote. the votes will be by EDC board members only, and only one vote per board position. We can have questions and answers and discussion prior to each vote. And again, we have people in this room who have other commitments this afternoon. So due to time constraints, please keep your comments short and to the point. Sorry, that was my phone. And Ray can cut short any comment or put limits on comment. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so today's discussion and what kind of like the first vote will be, let's start. The 0.09 funds, do we want to send them out of the, and that would be like Tri-County Economic Development. They are a good organization. This is not anything bad about TED, okay? They have different functions. It's not just them being an ADO. They have the regional transportation. There's a bunch of other things that TED does. And I met with Jeff yesterday and learned even more. So this is not about what TED does and doesn't do. It's about whether we want these 0.09 funds and the ADO funds in Ponderay County. So with that, if we're going to retain the 0.09 funds in the county, we have 4 options. Remain the ADO and directly hire an director. Remain the ADO and hire a 1099 employee. Option 3 is restructure the EDC, get like a consultant to make recommendations. And option 4 is find a third party that's qualified and meets all the ADO requirements and coordinate that with the county commissioners. Okay. There's another one. The first question is, does the EDC board, and if I say we, sorry, it's ownership, it's our county. So when I say we, I mean the EDC board. Do we want the 0.09 funds to be sent out of the county? TED currently receives 0.09 funds from the county, but a smaller share than what the county gives to the Ponderay County EDC. TED is out of our county. They are a regional planning district and they do a good job of helping with all of that. They have prioritized regional planning. And then of course, Stevens County, their tourism, their transportation, and then on the side is they also serve as the ADA for, yeah, my page. There you go. And historically, Ponderay County EDC has historically spent 0.09 funds within Ponderay, with the exception of services that are not available locally.
Just add to that last point, the spending of those funds, while may not 100% spent in the county, that doesn't mean that we're not going to hire promoters or marketing firms or do advertising outside the county. It means that those revenues are spent for Ponderay County, not a greater region. Okay, just don't misunderstand that last point. Okay, there needs to be some confusion about that.
Yeah.
Okay, so what that means is that those funds are spent local to gain economic development locally, not on a regional basis.
Well, but, and I need to clarify, this is Jeff from TED, and I need to clarify that your 0.09 funds, the money that you send to TED, are spent in Ponderay County. They are not spent on it's not outside the county.
Very good, agreed, Ted.
Can I ask a question?
No, we're going to keep moving. That's up to the chair.
Sure, go ahead.
I was just curious what the timeline is. Like, do we have to decide today? It feels like there's a lot of variables involved with this, and it's hard for me to say which way I prefer because I don't know the pros and cons of all the different.
The only reason we're having this meeting today is to vote on these options that we have before us.
And yes, time is of the essence here. Time is vital. It has, the EDC board has to keep moving. And if they don't, there's going to delay getting a director and getting the job done that is needing to be done.
I'm not arguing that point. This decision of if the money should stay here or go there, I don't know if everybody understands the pros and cons of those scenarios. So, but if we decide that, then it puts us to question 2. So we're deciding that fate today, whether we know the benefits or not. That's what my concern is. And I feel like we could still probably function as an EDC without having to decide this stuff today, but maybe I'm wrong. I haven't been as involved as you guys.
Yeah, I'll just say that the board members that are present in the room have debated this subject at length in multiple things. So we feel like the rest of us here, I think that are present in this room, and anybody chime up if I state this wrong, we feel like it's time to make a decision. And those of that have participated, make these first decisions. Those of us that have participated in this, we've weighed the pros and cons of this and played devil's advocate every which way but sideways. So we feel like it's time to move forward.
Agreed.
Would it be clear to clarify that once the decision is made, Monterey County Commissioners still have the overall say?
That's right.
That's right. This may not be, this is just a decision to be made, but at the end of the day, the Monterey County Commissioners will still make the final decision.
Absolutely.
Just to make that clear.
And Kurt, I think you'll understand more as we go through these slides.
Okay.
Kelly, next slide, please. Okay, so the first question and the first vote would be, do the board members want to allow the .09 funds to be sent out of the county?
For purposes of discussion, I'll make a motion to send the 09 funds outside the county.
Is there a second?
Second.
So then I would call the question.
Or discussion.
Discussion first, sorry.
I have a question. So it was mentioned in the first couple of slides to send the funding out of the county, TED specifically was brought up. Is that what we're then saying is kind of the option if we're going to send the funding out of the county, or is there that's one of the options? Are we essentially right now deciding that we provide that money to TED or not?
I think for us, and ultimately this will come down to the commissioners, we're going to look at Commerce and RCWs around 09 funds and look at organizations that qualify under that, the qualifications for awarding those ADOs. Right now, the only one that's on our radar would be TED. I think they would qualify to provide the county as an ADO and as economic development. If another one came forward, I don't think that's off the table. But there is pretty specific qualifications. You can't just say, "Oh, this is economic development, we're going to give it." No, it's pretty specific. And so
I think that type of information is maybe the level of detail that Kurt is saying we don't have to know.
Yeah.
It's hard for me personally to make a decision if I don't know if I'm essentially voting that TED is the only organization, and maybe that's fine.
Yeah.
And this is what TED brings to the table. I'm not personally very familiar with their organization and what they do, and all of the components. I'm sure there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
And yet I'm also not familiar with, like you said, in the RCW, what other organizations could that possibly be? And so I don't know that I have that level of information, to Kurt's point, to be able to make that decision today myself. But
And I think that a couple of questions down the line, we get more into that. If we don't send it out of the county, then what are we going to do? Right?
Okay. And the motion on the table is
to send it out of the county.
Okay.
And if I could answer just a couple of things on the specifics, I know there has to be broad community representation, and there specifically, it has to include the towns. Specifically, it has to include education stakeholders. Specifically, it has to include healthcare. Specifically, it has to include some private businesses and industries. So you're going to need whatever entity takes that on, is gonna have to meet those guidelines and include that broad participation, which is really well represented really in this room today. A broad representation of the community. So whatever entity that is gonna have to meet that. I know the commissioners will be looking at that, those things.
Just a point of opposition, just my point of view, really. Two things. One, Ponderay County has a very, very unique set of challenges that is best served by local understanding and experience. And two, Newport's far enough away. I don't want to be going any farther than that. And especially in the winter, you know what I mean? It's an easier route. So right off the bat, my inclination, for no other reason than those two, would be to keep these funds in county. What we do, that's the next question. Like, I would want them in county.
Discussion? Question?
Hi, something really fast, and I'm sorry if there's background noise, so I'll make it a quick comment. But I personally would rather see TED participate in an RFP process so that we have time to machinate on their response than to take a shortcut at this point without having that additional level of detail.
Thank you. That's well said.
That's a good point. And I believe that's in the third option.
Yeah.
So any other questions or discussion? Then I would call the question.
Do you want to reframe the motion just so everybody's clear?
The motion is to allow the 09 funds to be sent out of the county. All those in favor?
Oh, I need to go by person.
Okay, all right. Kelly's going to go through the list.
And I believe, correct me if wrong, we are not allowing online to vote.
That's right.
Okay.
As it stands, as we understand the bylaws now, they specifically do not allow online remote voting. So we're going with the bylaws as we understand them that were approved.
And we're going to try and address that in the August meeting.
The next meeting we're going to,
but then we'll vote in September.
Okay. So if I call your name and you are not the authorized representative, please say so. Ray, for the tribe.
No.
Okay. Kim is online, cannot vote, and we will be taking care of the alternate at our port meeting, but we will not vote today either for the port. Tara.
Yes.
Brian.
No.
Laura for Merkel.
No.
Jenny for Newport Hospital. Nope. Sean, North Chamber.
No.
Oops. I type in no and it types in North Chamber. Dot. Okay. Andy, Porta.
No.
Dave Brick, PUD.
No.
Mark Zarica, City of Newport.
No.
Kelly Flanagan, Town of Medellin.
No.
Jason is online, cannot vote for the chamber, Newport Chamber. Alex Stanton, are you online for ex-Babylon? Okay. Absent. Okay, so I have one yes and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 no's and 2 online. So funds stay within Ponderay County. The funds do not go outside Ponderay County. There we go. Okay. Next slide, please. And option 1, and we decided that these are basket A and basket B. Basket A is option 1 and option 2. So we will take that one on first. Option 1 is for the EDC to remain the ADO and directly hire an executive director. Hire the director, not be under the county, not be a county employee. It would be directly responsible to the EDC board. In doing that, you need retirement or pay higher wages. You're also going to have payroll taxes that would be responsibility of the EDC. Potential recruitment challenges, depending on what's out there, who's out there. You're going to have to continue to pay potentially have to pay for office space and utilities. You're going to have to update bylaws and set some policies, set your expectations for whoever you hire. And then you're going to have executive board regular reviews, whether that's quarterly, annually, that would to be determined. And then the EDC restructure, once a director is hired, the bylaws need overhauled. And again, you need policies and procedures and a bill to do structure. And all four of these options, as it says on the bottom of the slide, time is of the essence. There are things to be accomplished monthly. Next slide, please. And option 2, which is also basket A, is APO and hire a 10 meeting. You're looking at just due to there's not being beds and the individual being responsible for their own. You need to define a reporting process and structure for that individual or individuals. You still need office space and utilities. You need to produce a list of expectation and timelines, establish regular office hours, establish required attendance, and need the pre-approval process for additional meetings and or travel, and determine how or if the board can oversee the official reports and finances. So that is basket A. And how did we do the vote on that? We did option 1 would take a vote on.
So we through all the options.
Okay, so the next slide, please. That's hello, option 3, biggest light there, and I can't even claim that I can't see it because I can. So option 3, which is the first one in basket B, is the contractor, hire a contract to handle the restructure and make recommendations to the EDC, which would include reviewing the bylaws, the structure, is it the best or does it need some fine tuning? Your mama's gonna get you. Set up a dues schedule, and what does paying dues entitle anybody, any entity to, or does it mean anything? It just, and then the contractor, would that person have individual or direct input on who you're gonna hire? And then with the contractor, there's the potential to hold several structured public hearings for input. Hiring a contractor will cost money. And how is the EDC going to pay for that? If you've got EDC reserves, potentially you could go for contributions from the port, the PUD, the tribe, the county. What's the approach going to be? How are you going to do oversight? And what are the deadlines and deliverables if you hire a contractor under option 3? Okay. Option 4 is still retaining the .09 funds in the county and getting permission from the county commissioners to outsource. And this is where we talked about the RFP. So the contract, page 8, item 20, between the county and the EDC allows for revisions. The current contract says no third party, but you can go to the county and ask for revision. You need to build an RFP process for the ADO services, review those applications, interview interested parties who meet the criteria of the RFP and the Department of Commerce, and then select through a scoring process. Okay. All 4 options require active oversight and resources from the current EDC board. And is it better to hire a director and restructure, or restructure and then hire a director? And then here we talk about the vote being broke out into option 1 and 2 being bucket A, option 3 and 4 being bucket B.
And I'll just restate that so everybody, this could really easily get confusing. We're taking this vote in 2 baskets, okay? And then we're going to refine it. Basket A, the EDC, as it stands right now, would directly hire a new director, move directly towards hiring a new director as an employee with everything that entails. Okay? That would be the number one item in basket A. Number two item for choice in basket A would be the EDC 1099, a contractor, to be the director. Okay? That would be our first steps. Okay? That's basket A, two choices there. Basket B, that the EDC moved to hire a consultant firm to restructure and advise us and help us on the process of hiring the directors, and that they would continue out the year. Presumably that proposal would have a time frame of fulfilling the obligations of the EDC and fulfilling some of these shortcomings that we've identified of the EDC and bringing those up to where they should be. In other words, that we would do that first before we have a director, and before in any way, shape, or form that we have a director. And that action would be taken on by a consultant and relieving the present executive board of those duties. That's in this basket B, that first number one in basket B. The second choice in basket B would be that the EDC would allow a subcontractor or another entity, another stakeholder to take over their ADO function. Okay? That any other entity that would qualify under Commerce and under the RCW could take over that ADO function. And that the EDC would recommend that would take place and receive proposals to take over that ADO function. I would just point out that both of the items in basket B would require the final approval of the Board of Commissioners, because in the contract with the EDC, it requires the Board of Commissioners to give approval for contracting these services out. I feel like both of those would come before the Commissioners. Everybody understand that? I just wanted to clarify because it could get real confusing here. Go ahead, Kelly.
You did great. So back to option 2, basket motion. What we did before was option 1, vote on remain the ADO with a direct hire employee. There we go.
Questions or discussion?
I have one question on the option 1 and 2. Currently, do the county commissioners, the option 1 and 2 are in effect, currently would you guys actually keep the EDC underneath the county? Has there been a discussion in the commission?
I don't know if we specifically discussed that. You know, we did vote to approve the contract as it stands right now. The EDC, that contract's still in play. So I would guess that would continue till the interim, the end of that contract, which I believe is yearly. So
is it yearly? Or is it good by your contract for that?
I believe so.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. So yeah, I think the answer is ready to make that decision. One thing that is off the table, and I will just note, is going back to the status quo of the county providing the payroll services for the director. And I think that is clearly off the table. And so you'll see that that's not here.
Thank you for that clarification.
Yes.
That's important.
I have a question on bucket B. So bucket B, in theory, both of those are third-party support. Hire third party. And one is to hire third party to help sort of restructure, make recommendations on path forward. And option 4 is to then take that role. In either of those, in theory, those could be county head applied to be in either one of those organizations.
Correct.
So it goes back to that first vote. I mean, we voted in the first one not to directly send the funding like right now out, but we could still end up getting back to a recommendation of, hey, we recommend you go to TED. They're the best one. They're the one in your area. Is that okay? I just want to make sure I understood that to be true.
Yeah, and the first one was really a shortcut. and directly to that. Presumably, this would be a process where we would take proposals. And
As a board.
Yeah, and those proposals could be from any entity that meets those requirements to be an ADO, or meets the requirements of whatever that consultant request is. And again, it doesn't necessarily have to be in the county, but the efforts for economic development have to be for Pondere County, not a greater regional area.
So to Kurt's point again, and what Kim said, essentially options 3 and 4 are to move forward and find the best path forward, but it could be that finding to get the answers, to get the information Kurt was looking for, just as we continue to progress.
Correct.
Okay.
It's just that one would include an outside contractor and the other would not.
Yep.
Okay.
Any further questions or discussion?
Okay, so I believe we need a motion on option 1 to remain the ADO with a direct hire employee.
So are we doing the buckets?
Yeah, bucket A,
Bucket A.
option 1.
Wait.
No, we just.
No,
We did all buckets.
it's the whole bucket. That's why we did
Yeah, we only
buckets.
did
So do
individual.
we do that
Bucket A,
direction?
Yeah.
Okay,
We clarified.
okay, so I didn't update my form, sorry. So I need a motion on basket A, bucket A, whatever you want to call it.
I make a motion, bucket A.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Kelly can do the list now.
Hang on, I have to take notes too. Okay. Ray, bucket A.
No.
Kim is online. Okay, Tara,
No.
Brian,
No.
Laura.
No.
Jenny. Nope. Sean. Andy.
No.
Dave. Mark.
No.
Kelly. Jason's online. Alex is not here. Unanimous no.
Unanimous no.
On bucket
So
A.
then,
That takes both items in bucket A off the table.
now we move to. Questions or discussion? Is it bucket or basket? We need to pick.
I know, because
Bucket, I like a basket. Bucket.
I wrote basket, but bucket.
Bucket.
Just gonna basket, sorry.
Have that. We have the squeeze.
Okay, so since A is off the table, now we need to vote on 3 or 4. So I need a motion for option 3.
You want to restate what that is? Option 3 would be that at least for the time being, the EDC would remain the county's ABO. The EDC would request for proposals for a consultant to fulfill the remaining duties under the contract with the county and to advise on a path forward towards hiring a director, a director, overcoming some of the shortcomings that we identified already, including maybe bylaw structure, policies and procedures, some of our decision making. That's number 1 choice there in basket B.
It does require commissioner.
It does require commissioner approval because under the contract, as the ABO, it states that should the contract out, that the commissioner would have to renegotiate that line.
And the EDC would be responsible for paying for that outside contractor, not
Yes.
the county.
Yes, and there was discussion about how that could possibly spread out with organizations.
Does the executive board pick that contractor, or does the county commissioners, they're the one that has the contractor?
I think the discussion we had is the executive board would make consider proposals and make a recommendation. And of course, ultimately, the commissioners could help and
I have a question. So once the RFP comes into play, and from where I heard at the last meeting, that the EDC board would actually review the RFP and then move it up to that. So would it be in the stages where the RFP goes straight to the executive board, or does it go straight to the board only first? I thought I heard at the last meeting that the RFP to the board looks at it, and then you create not executive. That's not what I heard last meeting. I heard there's going to be possibly 6 cut down from all the people on the board to make that determination for the other county commissioners. So you guys are saying something different now. You guys are saying executive to do that. So that's not what we said last time.
I think we're saying the same things, but different words. So my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, is there is a group writing the RFP to be taken to the county because they're going to have to approve the RFP.
Mm-hmm.
And then you make that call for RFP for your proposals. The executive board would review and yes.
Yes.
Those proposals.
Yeah.
And then go back to the county.
Mark, we're saying something different because Brian was talking about option 3, and what was voted on at the last meeting, and now we're re-voting on was. So option 4 is direct to this. Option 3 is would fill through the county.
Yes.
That's the difference.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So there's a group that wants to be the ADO right now. Is that what you just said, Kelly? That's working on a proposal?
No. There's a group of EDC board members working to draft up the RFP.
Gotcha. I thought you said somebody was interested and was working on a proposal.
No. Nope. Have a motion.
Any further questions or discussion? I would end the motion on bucket B option
3. Option 3.
Option 3. Okay,
Right.
yes.
Take a vote on option 3 and bucket B.
Second that.
Moved and seconded. We're waiting on the note taker.
I'm sorry, I don't take a shorthand. Okay, Ray.
I like 4, so I'm going to say no.
Kim's online. Tara.
No.
Brian.
No.
Laura.
No.
Jenny.
No.
Sean.
No.
Andy.
No.
Dave.
No.
Mark.
No.
Kelly.
No.
Jason's online. Alex isn't here. Unanimous. Bless you.
Thank you.
Okay, so now
Bucket basket
bucket basket.
B.
Bucket basket.
option 4.
You sunk my battleship.
Questions or discussion?
It's like we're ordering something from KFC.
Kelly,
Kelly, I have a question that I should have asked an hour ago. Do we have a quorum of people in the room that can vote?
Yeah.
Oh,
And how many, what is that number?
51% of it.
51. Yeah. So, okay. Okay, thank you.
2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, 10 here. Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, so a motion. Oh, did you?
any other questions or discussion? I would entertain the motion then.
I'll make a motion that we go forward with option 4 in bucket B. Restate that option. That option is that the EDC would submit proposals or request proposals for outsourcing the ADO function from an eligible other entity.
I'll second that.
You're not going to restate that.
No, I'm just not going to say
We're waiting on our scribe.
I'm sorry. Thanks.
Let's just a ball points.
Ray.
yes.
Kim's on. Tara.
Yes.
Brian.
Yes.
Laura.
Yes.
Jenny.
Yes.
Sean.
Yes.
Andy,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
and the other two can't vote, unanimous.
Next step. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
And it is in Newport at 8:30 at the county
That's
commission.
the county commissioner's office.
So at the city council, we don't have it to guys. So we have a reference.
What, we can.
So no.
I already said it
Okay, never mind.
before, sorry.
Oh, no, okay.
So there were additional motions attached to this, the last meeting. Are those being?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Because there was discussion about funding. Okay, if there was funding need, if that's off the table, that's fine. I just
that's
wanted to
right.
bring that.
Yeah.
that-
Is still part of the,
It was within the structure of for the RFP.
Yeah.
Process.
For the RFP or for the hiring contract.
For the RFP of if attorney review and some different
Yeah.
things, there was a motion made of $5 be allocated for it. Didn't
Probably should vote on that again.
purpose of this meeting, as it was. It was built under structure unless we can do that general.
EDC structure to this part of building the
Okay.
RFP, I would think, but.
No, that's good though.
Well, I mean, does it matter? Are we gonna be ready to spend that money for the next meeting? Can we, if we're not gonna be ready to have legal review or whatever, the team that is gonna write our, ready for legal
I like
review?
that idea. Yeah.
So that we don't get
Right.
ourselves into a bind, can we?
Yep, I like that.
Yeah.
I will,
Good point. We will add that to the agenda
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
the next meeting.
Can we table
Discussion, table it, and
Yeah,
That was
just as a heads up, I will be in Montana, so I'll be attending the meeting online, but I'll be at least present if not voting.
okay, so I will add that to the, August 16th, 8:30 at the county commissioners agenda.
And Tara, just along that point, at the next meeting, we are to propose,
Discuss those things.
we're also gonna propose amending the bylaws to allow remote voting.
Well,
So we
a lot
can
of-
comment.
a
The
lot of
vote
us
wouldn't be till
catching up on
September.
that one.
Yes,
So-
yes, I should, yeah.
Thank you.
Does it also have on the agenda for next month, the other vote that was needed for the vice chair?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Good.
I entertain a motion that we adjourn.
I second. Moved and seconded, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Against?
Thank you, everyone.
You can say.